Today I had the pleasure of sitting down with Dale Marsh, a brilliant artist, a good friend, but also a mentor. There's so much that goes into an artist's career, and we sometimes don't get privy to that struggle and that strain. So let's sit down together and learn from him. So how have things been going, Dale?
Very well, thanks, Scully.
Oh, that's fantastic. And as we age, we always get aches and pains and things. Have you been able to do much painting recently?
Yes, I've been spent a lot of time in the studio painting.
Fantastic.
I've been doing a series of Venice.
Oh, wow.
From loose sketches that I did when I was over there.
Fantastic.
Working them up into finished paintings.
I always feel Venice is one of those great subjects that it's not only a wonderful place to visit, but a great test artistically as well.
It is, yes.
Yeah. And historically as well. So many great painters back to...
That's right.
Yeah. So how many trips did you do to Venice yourself?
3. I've been to Venice, painted in Venice 3 times now.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you saying to me years ago how you used to travel. You would work mostly on, was it Belgian linen or just canvas sheets?
Yeah, no, Belgian linen that I've grounded, and I'd pin it out on a board and put tape around it.
Gotcha.
And then I'd do my painting.
Gotcha. A lot of my students will know that I copied your idea. So whenever I travel, it's a backing board, canvas sheets, and with all the masking
That's
tape.
right.
But
yeah.
I know actually travelling and painting always does sort of give us other difficulties when we're travelling. But what I'd love to ask is, for everyone and myself actually, to know a little bit more about where you grew up and some of those early influences on your life, because I believe you were born in Brisbane?
I was born in Brisbane. I was born in 1940, and I remember the last years of the war, the Second World War. I grew up an only child in an old house at Kangaroo Point. And it was a house in which there were no books and no paintings on the wall.
Right.
My father was mostly absent. He was out west laying railway lines.
Right.
And it was just my mother and I. I got interested in drawing at a very early age, and I can remember I borrowed some books of Charles Dickens, and they had sketches in them by Boz.
Gotcha.
They were ink sketches.
Right.
And I found a mapping pen, and I got some ink, and I copied every one of those sketches.
Right. Actually, that's quite a common sort of thing. I think Darcy Doyle used to draw cartoons on the misty, foggy train windows to entertain himself.
I became quite obsessive with drawing and painting, and I can remember being straight up very soon after my 5th birthday, thinking it hit me suddenly that this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I knew it as a certainty.
Gotcha, right.
At 5 years of age.
Yeah. That instinct so young is super rare, so it must have been very, very strong.
I could feel it if it was inside me, and it had to find an outlet.
And so for formal training or any sort of guidance, that must have been difficult to acquire back then?
Yeah, well, fortunately, by the time I started school, I was still drawing. We had a competition at school for an art scholarship to the Queensland Art Gallery, which was in those days situated in the old museum building at
beautiful building.
Bowen Hills.
Yeah, magnificent building.
And they selected 2 students from each school. And we had the competition, in which I was lucky enough to be chosen, and we got tutored by Miss Vida Leahy. Right. She was a prominent artist in Brisbane,
magnificent
mainly
painter.
known for her flower pieces.
Yeah, and Monday Morning Washes, I think.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's in the gallery now.
Yeah, well worth studying for the figurative painter and painter just in general. Yeah.
Well, I attended those classes of a Saturday morning from the age of 9 till I was 12.
Right.
And for 3 years, and Vida Leahy was a lovely, gentle old soul. She would take us into the art gallery at the beginning of the session
Gotcha.
And she would get us to look at the paintings and really look at them.
Right.
She'd say, look at them up close and look at the texture. Now stand back and look at the whole composition.
Yeah.
And now try to figure out what the artist was trying to say to you. And that increased our appreciation of art.
Yeah. Actually, I could also see how it would have sort of put it into a bit of a historical context and painting context mostly, but yeah, to be able to see such great paintings.
That's right.
And then go and do, instead of just turning up somewhere and not having any idea what you're going to do, you've got those great works there to...
I particularly remember a big painting of William Dobell's called The Cypriot.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I used to stand and watch that for ages.
Right, yeah. Dobell was famous for almost elongating his figures.
I acquired a set of watercolours by the time I was 8 or 9, and I used to paint scenes around Kangaroo Point.
Right.
I spent a lot of time with my watercolours of an afternoon over at the old St Mary's Church, a beautiful old convict-built stone church.
Yep. I think I know the one. Is that on the southern side of the Story Bridge?
Yes, overlooking the river.
Yeah. So you would have had such great... The Story Bridge would have been...
exactly opposite it.
Oh, right.
In an old place called Brayside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the Story Bridge would have been fairly new when you were young, growing up there as well.
It was, yes.
Yeah, because a lot of people wouldn't realise that the same builder built the Sydney Harbour Bridge as well. Yeah. And they named a little bit of road the Bradford Highway. It's apparently the shortest highway in the world. It's 1 mile long. So it probably finished about where you grew up. So,
when my father came back from the West, he used to take me at night time for walks across the Story Bridge.
Right.
And we'd walk all the way down to Wollongabba and back.
Oh, wow. Geez.
It was fun.
Yeah. So, because I've always been curious as to what drew you to Melbourne, because that's seen as the art centre of Australia.
Well,
Heidelberg
this
School.
is what I heard or I read somewhere in a bookstore, that Melbourne was the art centre of Australia. So I was, at the time, I was a signwriter to start with.
Oh, okay. Yep,
because when I turned 14, I said to my parents, I'm ready to leave school now and go for work. And they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be an artist. They said, you can't be an artist. You've got to get a proper job that'll support you.
Yeah.
The nearest thing I could find was being a signwriter. So I did a signwriting apprentice.
Gotcha, yep.
Apprenticeship.
It was such a common thing because my father did ticket writing and it was brush and paint. And
that's right. And I enrolled in an art class at the Brisbane Central Technical College, it was called then. It's now QUT University.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I used to go 3 nights a week, once to life class, life drawing.
Gotcha, yep.
Another time to Melville Haysom's painting class.
Oh, okay, yes.
Melville taught a lot of people in Brisbane. And the other night we did charcoal drawing, where I learnt a lot about light and how light strikes an object and dissipates and reflects underneath.
Actually, I think with your figurative work, I can see how that would have helped you getting that mass.
That's right.
And the bodies to have that mass, not to be a flat front-on object, one-dimensional. So no, I can see how, because I've sort of looked back at some of my training, think that was helpful, that was really helpful, and I could see the charcoal drawing, and because of the type of medium that it is, it would have been
we used to get the charcoal and the paper and put a rub in of charcoal all over it and then wipe it back with a rag.
Gotcha.
We always bought a piece of bread to rub out.
I did try that. It didn't seem to work for me that well. Maybe I wasn't pressing hard enough. So you've done the training with in Brisbane and you'd heard about going to Melbourne, and because I had a bit of a similar experience really, seeing Streeton's names, Robert's names, all these names, and thinking Melbourne. So he might have done some work in Sydney, and there was the school in Sydney, but it seemed to be a big attraction going to Melbourne.
That's right.
Seeing
Well,
the great
I set
painters.
off when the credit squeeze came. There wasn't any work for signwriters in Brisbane. I set off in my old broken down car to go to Sydney to find a job.
Right.
I only got as far as Newcastle and the car broke down.
Ah, right.
So
Nearly there. But
I got a job there as
okay.
a signwriter.
Right.
And I did most of the gold work for solicitors' windows and things like that.
Wow.
Gold leaf.
Gotcha.
But it was in the back of my mind I wanted to go to Melbourne. I did eventually go to Melbourne. I got my old car fixed up and drove it down to Melbourne. And I enrolled in RMIT University,
Yes. Yep.
which I'd heard was the best art school.
Gotcha. Yep.
I ended up doing the diploma course, which I had to work of a day, and I worked at the Science Museum as an artist and model maker.
Right.
I'd go, I think I went every night of the week to RMIT night classes. We did history of art and theory of design.
Gotcha. And was this more designed to be an art teacher or
Well,
artist,
I ended
or a bit
up
of both?
being an art teacher.
Right.
My object was to end up being a painter, to paint full time. But that wasn't a very easy thing to do, so I had to work. I got married down in Melbourne, and I went to RMIT classes, nighttime classes, 5 nights a week.
Right.
And went home in the train in the freezing cold in winter.
Oh, jeez.
I got fond memories of that.
Yeah. What it's showing me is that you were determined and driven to be successful, and I think that's so important.
I eventually ended up as in the education department as an art teacher of secondary schools. I spent a year in Mildura.
Oh, okay, doing your country service.
I was getting back to my painting by then.
Right.
And I was painting every weekend and whenever I could get a bit of time.
Gotcha.
I'd go out and paint plein air.
So you were probably in your mid-20s?
I was, yes.
Yeah, yep.
I won the Mildura Prize at one time, and that was a great incentive for me.
Oh, yeah.
But because, to be quite honest, the pressure that they put on me at RMIT in diploma class alienated me from painting for a while.
Right.
It was too much pressure. And I decided, because they were accented on the modern, the theory of art and the history of art, and it was all leading to doing new things. And it's very hard to come up with something brand new. And in the end, I thought, well, why paint? You can appreciate nature for itself.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
You don't need to paint it. And I stayed like that for about a year.
Right.
But I did that painting one time during the school holidays. I was camped with my wife on the banks of the Murray River.
Gotcha. Right.
And nature brought it back to me.
Yeah.
I sat there at the campfire and just looked at the trees, and I thought, they're so beautiful. I want to paint them.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've got the right to paint them if I want to.
Yeah.
And
how you want to as well.
In that time, the whole concept of not painting disappeared.
Gotcha.
And the comments of the teachers at RMIT that looked down upon people that I wanted to paint like the Impressionists, like Monet and Degas.
Exactly. Yeah. No.
But they dismissed all that as being chocolate box.
Yeah.
Which was their favourite term.
Yeah. Because the interesting thing was that there was the big push, I think, in the post-Impressionist period, say the 30s, 40s and 50s, and this would have probably been mid-60s for you. But I noticed with my father's era, there was a bit of a resurgence in Impressionism in Australia, and I think you would have been in part of that wonderful big wave. Some of the other artists that you may have painted with or were friends with in Melbourne or that you may have known as well? There's probably too many
I had some great friends. I was part of a little art group that we called ourselves the Five Group.
Gotcha.
And we met at an old an old stone cottage at Warrandyte.
Yes.
Well, we met because one of our group had rented this old stone cottage with tree trunks in the ceiling.
Right.
Built by, it was made early on in the 40s by a Russian, I can't quite remember his name, but a Russian sculptor.
Wasn't Danila Vasiliev?
That's it, Vasiliev.
Vasiliev, I always had trouble pronouncing
Vasiliev.
it. Yeah,
and we'd meet there, and we'd sit around in the stone cottage. We'd go out painting all day, come back at night, have a bottle of wine, cook dinner, and sit around on the stone floor and talk painting. But this group was sort of a little bit inhibiting because they were very grounded in Max Meldrum style.
Okay, that's interesting.
And they wouldn't countenance any departure from the Max Meldrum style.
Yes, it was his way or the highway.
And I thought this was very limiting because they ended up their paintings all looked the same.
That was the great tragedy.
Yeah.
A lot of great work, but all that beautiful tonal work.
But for me, I wanted to express me in the paintings, what I felt, my feelings. And so I broke with them after a while.
Gotcha, yep.
But I did get to meet a lot of painters down there, Kenneth Jack and Bruce Fletcher, Sir William Dargie. Sir William Dargie used to come out and mentor us.
Wow. Yep.
And he'd come out to Stony Grad and we'd all have dinner together, and he'd tell us, aim to be at your best when you're 40 years old.
Gotcha, right.
And, climb the ladder till then.
Yeah,
and then you'll be producing your best work.
Because William Dargie's famous for painting the Queen in the wattle yellow colour dress, and so he would have been a great inspiration for a young painter at that age.
Paul Fitzgerald.
And Maxwell Wilkes.
Maxwell Wilkes, yes. Yeah. Maxie was part of the group.
Yeah. Because I went, I think, around about the same time, and I'm not sure if you ever remember it, but you did a small workshop for the Aspley Art Group at Aspley, and I was a student of yours there. Yeah. And I actually showed you some of my pen and ink drawings, and you were very complimentary, and I took that as a good plus. But about the same time, I went to Sydney to do a workshop just a one-day workshop with Max. Yeah. And I didn't know you were actually friends. And
we were friends, and I greatly admired Max's work because although he had a little bit of a problem with composition, his work was fluid and painterly. And the brush strokes flowed into one another. It's beautifully.
Lovely creative spirit to his work.
That's right, and a nice bloke too.
Right, probably when I met him, because we would do a bit of teaching together, I think he was having trouble with his hip. He had had a car accident.
He was a bit overweight as well.
Yeah, and he was a bit grumpy. I tried to give him a compliment, and thanks for that. But either thinking either he was a little embarrassed or he was in a bit of discomfort. I wasn't sure which one, but I at least wanted to let him know that I was grateful for being able to see his work, listen to him talk, and then eventually actually be fellow teachers at Grafton Arts Fest. But and then how did you manage to then start to get into galleries and start the exhibiting and exhibition sort of process? Because we do have two of Dale's books here. Normally I find any artist that's produced a book or even two books, it kind of puts your work at a certain level above just the run-of-the-mill. And not that there aren't great painters who haven't had books, but you were then able to get into galleries and do the exhibitions in Melbourne.
It's an interesting story. Teaching didn't suit me at all.
Right.
I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to but be able to paint every day. And the pressure of being a teacher got to me in the end.
Right, yeah.
And in fact, I had a nervous breakdown in front of the whole class.
Oh, boy.
And collapsed onto a desk, sobbing.
Oh, jeez.
And
that was kind of a strong sign of...
it was a sign I'd had enough.
Yeah,
I had a tick in the eye, and
boy.
my nerves were frayed.
Yeah.
So the next day I walked into the headmaster's office and I resigned.
Right.
They tried to talk me out of it, but anyhow, I found myself then at home in a very ramshackle old home that was stuffed to the rafters with hoarded stuff.
Right.
No light. I had to take the easel over to a window and paint right next to the window to get enough light.
Right, yes.
And actually I didn't know where my next paycheck was going to come from.
Right.
And I painted that way. I restricted myself to a small tin of baked beans every day, or a small tin of spaghetti. And I painted and painted. And I was getting nowhere. I thought I'd paint child portraits and I'll put a sign in the local shops and that'll bring the customers in. Didn't get a response.
Right.
So but I kept at it. I kept painting, and then I went for a holiday back up to Queensland, and I was up in the near Mullaney.
Gotcha.
And I stopped on the side of the road to paint to do a little painting in the car of the hills.
Gotcha, yeah.
And a guy comes down the road on a horse with a rope.
Right.
And he stopped outside the car window. He said, I thought you'd broken down, mate. I was just going to pull you out. Anyway, I said, I want to sketch you. You look great.
Right.
So I did half a dozen sketches. He was happy.
Right.
Took them back to Melbourne and I painted them. One of the paintings was, I put them in for frames, and one of the paintings that was seen in the framers by a woman called Carlotta Bush, who was just about to open an art gallery called Young Originals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very well
at South Yarra.
Gotcha, wow.
And she gushed. She said, your paintings are wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, she said, can I come and visit you? Yes. So I gave her the address. She turned up and she looked at my other work and she was very, very positive about it.
Oh, that's fantastic,
And she said, well, I want to invite you out for a meal, to dinner. We'll go to an Italian restaurant. She was a tall lady dressed in black. Her name was Carlotta. I don't think that was a real name.
Right.
And she was just obsessed with Italian culture.
Oh, okay.
So we turned up for the meal at an Italian restaurant, and she bought some wine and ordered scallopini with extra garlic. And over dinner she said, I've got a proposal for you. I'm about to open this gallery and I want you to do an exhibition for me.
Wow.
And I said, I can't do that. That's too much. I'm just a painter, I've only started.
Yeah, they're still daunting years later, I know.
But she was a very good talker. And
gotcha,
she talked and it praised my work.
Eventually
and kept filling up my wine glass. In the end, she said, now you paint this exhibition for me. And in the end I said, yes, I will. I'll go to Lightning Ridge and paint you an exhibition.
Okay.
I didn't know where Lightning Ridge was and I didn't know anything about it. It just came out.
Right.
Anyhow, so I did go to Lightning Ridge. I spent a month there painting all the miners.
Right.
And even painted down the mines by torchlight.
Wow, geez.
Bought the paintings back, had them all framed, and she, in the meantime, was ordering expensive coloured brochures and catalogues. They all went out. And then it was opening time for the exhibition. We hung the exhibition the night before, and she used what she called the Florentine dirty thumb method of putting it up on the wall and making a mark a dirty mark with your thumb, then putting the
right, okay.
right. And we all, when they were all hung, we looked at it and we said, well, that's the best we can do. And Carlotta said, well, I hope we sell one painting anyway. If we sell one, it'll be a success.
Geez.
She'd done a lot of campaigning and hyping up for the exhibition. On the night, these big black Mercedes-Benzes arrived with, people dressed in beautiful clothes. And prior to that, she'd had the entrance, the steps had to be reconcreted. And this concreter came out, and when he finished, he said, "Can I come to your exhibition?" She said, "Yes, of course you can come." Gave him an invitation.
Right.
He turned up in the biggest black Mercedes-Benz you ever saw.
Oh, right. Yeah, you can
anyway,
tell.
There was a lot of excitement, and the exhibition sold out in 15 minutes.
Wow.
I sold all the studies as well, all the pen and ink studies I'd done of the miners.
Right.
Had them framed.
Because I only noticed in retrospect that you did do a lot of horses and almost sort of outback, but then you did move into probably more what you're known for, the figurative work. Was that an evolution, or did you...
It was an evolution, yeah. I painted rural scenes, horses and swarthy men at work with shoveling and things like that. And then all of a sudden something happened. I fell in love with somebody,
right?
And I started painting romantic paintings.
Right. Okay.
And from then on, it was all romance and pink flowers and.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah.
That seems a strong instinct in you, and that's how you visually portrayed.
Yeah. And I was painting young girls in romantic settings and stuff like that.
I can't remember where I was, but someone had brought out a tray to put coffee cups in.
The trays.
Yeah, and I saw a painting underneath it and thought, geez, that looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, that is good. Oh, Dale Marsh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But so I was always curious.
Oh, they're collector's items now.
Willow should have grabbed it.
The boss of Willowware came out to the studio and he said, I've got a proposition for you. You paint me 3 or 4 paintings and I'll put them on trays. We'll do a limited edition.
Gotcha.
And I said, yeah, that's okay. And I sold him the paintings. And the limited edition turned into an unlimited edition. They were all over the place.
Yeah. Actually, I've had some experiences with printing and that sort of stuff. But and I believe you had a bit of an association with Tom Roberts.
Tom.
Q Gallery. I think, was he known as the Q Gallery always?
The Q Gallery, yeah. Tom was a great friend of mine and a terrific bloke.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful guy. He collected rare cars.
That's right, yeah.
And I'd go out to his place and we'd go for a ride in his Bugatti.
Oh, wow.
And you'd have to wear the leather thing and goggles.
Right,
the gear shift was outside the car. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because I can remember stories where, it might have been in the 80s, where exhibition opening, people were lined up outside,
they used to sleep They used to get there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon the day before, look at the preview, which you couldn't buy paintings at the preview, and they'd form a line outside the gallery at 3 o'clock, and they'd stay there all night, sleep there, so they were given numbers.
Right.
And they were then in the morning when the gallery opened, they could come in 2 at a time. Yeah. And they were only allowed to buy 1 painting each.
Right. So
this happened year after year.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened in Sydney.
Right.
And it was actually in the newspaper.
Oh, well, because actually the art world, because I started in 86, even though growing up with my dad's experience, I was probably a bit more sort of knowledgeable than the average person or kid on the art world. And as for, say, today, how it's sort of, or even, because I noticed in the 90s it had a bit of a slowdown, seems to be sort of some of those big world events seems to hurt the art world in some ways. But do you feel that ultimately it's still down to doing good paintings, and because you're still exhibiting, which is great.
Yeah.
As well. So
Well,
how have you seen the turn of time?
Yeah. I ignore the modern trend. I've long ago given myself permission to do what I want to do, regardless of. I mean, they'll never hang in the state galleries because they're only interested in modern stuff. You've got to use a television set or something like that now.
Yeah.
But at least I'm doing what I want to do, and it's all coming from me. I'm expressing how I feel inside, and that's important.
Oh, absolutely. I've always felt realism early on was for a pictorial record, and it definitely served a great purpose. Anyone probably painted in like the 1600s, 1800s. We didn't have cameras, so that was a great record. Then Impressionism came, and then abstraction and modern, if you wanted to call it modern art. But I always felt that, and definitely you do it so beautifully, where you will have a lovely realistic figure, but in an abstract approach and background. And I'd love to know how you formulate and keep, because it's almost like organised chaos. There's so much going on. I can normally sort of look at an artist's work and go, oh, he or she's done this. I can calculate how they've done it. But with your work, I've always had a difficulty in analysing and working out how you get that almost like an opal effect. But then you place that lovely figure in, or it might be a puppy dog, or it can be quite a few different things.
Yeah.
I'd love to know a little bit more about that process, how you get that finished painting.
I think occasionally it's a good idea to give free rein to your subconscious.
Okay.
And occasionally I'll do a painting and I'll superimpose things all over the place. And it's just a subconscious vision.
Gotcha.
And then I'll get back to painting things as they are.
Gotcha. And I know for myself, I love to formulate the idea almost in an instant. I'll see a scene and think, oh yeah, I know. Is that similar with yourself, or do you find the painting builds and it might go off in another direction, or do you have your set idea from start to finish?
Yeah, I've got my set idea. I'm very fond, I guess my favourite artist is Turner, and I'm very fond of what he's trying to say in paintings. And to me, what he's trying to get to is the numinous, the power behind creation.
Gotcha, yeah.
And to me, that's a sacred thing. And very often, this is what I'm aiming at too. I don't get anywhere near as close to it as Turner did, but I'm trying.
Yeah, and that's...
Trying to express that numinous.
Yeah, because it's funny, Monet is kind of considered the original, the first impressionist, but I think what Turner was doing, I loved when he would do the really sort of almost stormy, and and I've seen some great little Venice scenes that aren't as, they're just straight, and they look like impressionist paintings, even though he was kind of technically what you'd almost consider before impressionism came. But I can see your attraction, but it was a bit of a surprise. I thought Monet, or to Australian sort of audiences, Frederick McCubbin.
Well, I first encountered Turner at an exhibition, a travelling exhibition at the Queensland Art Gallery, and it was the old Queensland Art Gallery back in those days. And it peeled my eyes. It inspired me. And I thought, this is what painting's all about, trying to get to that
level, yeah.
Yeah.
I know he certainly did have a very unique voice, and that's what I see in your work as well. Is there any sort of technical tips that you can help with? Because I remember, you may not remember this one either, I think I must have been about 26 or 27, we had a drawing class at my father's studio.
That's right, yes, I remember that.
And
the model got sick.
That's right, yeah, and we all had to sit in.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh boy, that's the hardest work. I think I sat still for 45 minutes. That's the hardest work I've had to do. And I then had a bigger respect for the models, just how how hard they do to maintain poses. But I can remember I was having trouble sort of with the chest area, and you explained it in a wonderful way that instead of thinking of it just as a line, and think of it as a barrel, as that round shape of a barrel, and straight away that those words formulated, I understand it now. So when you're looking at doing your drawing, are you looking at the balance of the figure, or do you start at the head, or do you like to draw the whole figure in? I'd love to know more about your actual approach to when you're starting the painting, how you're placing shapes. Can you give us a few tips for a young painter?
Well, yeah. My approach is to be completely free when you're starting a painting, and the underpainting's most important, and you've got to be free with it and rub out sections with a cloth and put sections in and push it and pull it around.
Gotcha, yeah.
Until you get what you want. And just work from there and build up layer by layer.
Yeah, because most Australian painters, we're known for our light. Is that a strong instinct with yourself?
Light?
Yeah.
Light is everything. Paintings are light.
It seems to be in the Australian's DNA, I think.
Yeah.
I get the comment of, geez, you Australian painters, there's got to be something in the water or something in the sky that drives you.
Yeah, I see paintings as areas of a substance which absorbs all the all the light rays except one, or one or two in a mixture.
Gotcha, yeah.
and reflects the others, and they're like beacons.
Because I think actually when you're talking about light, after going to the workshop, because I was still a young painter, still really trying to find my own way, and I thought, you know what, I've been to drawing classes and some portraiture classes, but I could never work out how to get the reflected light and to know what colour in whites, when I'd say have a figure with a white shirt or something. And so I went to one of your books and I thought, oh, that's how Dale does it. It's a lot of blue, so there's got to be a lot of blue, so it's got to be reflected light from the sky. And you're probably sort of thinking, oh, geez, you know, that's something that you were doing without even thinking. So was there any part of your training that you thought, because I know for drawing for me, that definitely helped with composition, all that. Was there any part of your training and practice in your early days that you think, that you could pass on to everyone, that you think, you know what, if you want to be a good painter or a good artist, do this or do that? Is there?
Yeah, I sat and thought hard about this, and I came up with this, and I've told it to all my students. I've told them this: tackle the basics in
the drawing
techniques.
Yeah. Yep.
Learn your techniques, master your techniques, all of them.
Yep. That's great.
And then forget about it.
Okay.
Put it out of your mind. Don't think about it. Because you do it by instinct then. Once you've absolutely mastered all the techniques, you forget about it and you just paint what's in your heart. And what's in your heart will come out on the canvas.
Yeah. I'd always say to the students that we need to practice enough that we know the techniques as instinctive as we breathe. And we don't have to think about breathing.
That's right.
Yeah. So I know that's really interesting. And, I think we'll wrap it up, and we'd love to have a look in your studio. We'd love to sort of have a look at some of your paintings as well, so that we can, some of the newer stuff and so I reckon we'll go and with your permission, go and take a look in your studio as well.
Certainly.
Okay, so we'll go and do that. It's so great to be in the studio space. So many great paintings. I find that just an inspiration as well. And it's such a rarity to be able to come into a fellow artist's workplace, because as over the years, you tend to see their paintings, but not see how the paintings have been painted. So we've got Dale's easel here, and I can remember years ago getting some advice from you about how to make a good easel, and it was all about how yours was adjustable. I'm not sure if this is the same one that you had when you were over at, Oh, over near Indooroopilly, you lived over that way for a bit?
Yeah, I think it's the same one.
Okay.
Actually, it's a few bits and pieces have fallen off it. It needs a bit of repairing.
Right, yeah. It's a bit like when we age a little bit, bits start falling off or getting taken away. But and do you find you use a similar palette of colours that you used to use? Or,
Yes,
or is
I probably
adjusted?
use too many colours, but
Right.
I've got a use for each one of them.
Gotcha, yeah. Actually, talking to Nancy Guzik, Richard Schmid's widow, and she said Richard had a favourite colour that he used to almost put, it was a kind of a bluey purple. Do you have a absolute favourite tube of paint that you think, I have my set 8 or 9.
Well, that's funny because I've got a bluish purple,
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
which is actually called a grey purple, grey,
Okay.
violet grey.
Right.
And it's a very good colour.
And do you find that either influences what the painting's going to be, or is that a way of you do you use it as a harmonious sort of colour, or is it just a colour that you love in you?
In mixtures, it's very versatile.
Gotcha.
Also, brown pink.
Oh, okay.
I like that as an underpainting.
Oh, right. Is that more of a sort of like a grey, a duller unifying?
No, it's a transparent.
Ah, gotcha.
It's a transparent dark grey.
Gotcha.
Dark brown, I mean.
Actually, one other thing is I think people would love to hear is your brushes, and some artists take meticulous care. I don't like washing mine in water because I find, especially the hog hairs, it makes them go. Do you have a special sort of way that you look after your brushes, because they almost are an extension of our fingers?
Carefully, get rid of all the paint out of them, and I do wipe my palette knives every night. Don't let paint dry on them.
Yeah.
But that's advice from Richard.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
he was an inspiration to so many, wasn't he?
oh yeah, absolutely. Great painter. But my brushes are nearly all worn out, and I've got to replace them.
Right.
I'm pretty hard on brushes.
Gotcha, yep. I find I'm more liking a brush that's newer and sharper edge to get those lovely sharp edges. Do you find you're a bit uncomfortable with a brand new brush because you?
Yeah, I've got to. Actually, I use the maximum, work them in on bricks.
Oh, okay.
And that comes from my signwriting days.
Ah, right. Yeah, because I think that's the one thing I love with your paintings is you get that dreamy, lots of lost edges, but of course enough found edges to hold the viewer's eye. And do you use a lot of big brushes, small brushes, or a range size
big
brushes?
range of brushes, from a very tiny little one to big rounds.
Right.
Yeah. I used to, when I started off, I used to use square brushes, flat brushes.
Gotcha, yep.
But I've come more and more to use rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've started with the square brushes and stayed with them, but I've always felt a little uncomfortable because it's like I lose control of the edge a little too much. But no, that's interesting. And do you find that helps your figure painting when you're doing the figures to have the filberts as well?
Oh, yeah.
Because I find a filbert is great when you've got that rounded shape and you just need to, instead of the square brush gives you a squarer edge. And
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's fascinating.
One bit of advice I had earlier on was use your brushes like carpenter's tools.
Gotcha, right.
Yeah. I sort of think that perhaps Richard did that because I notice he places every brush stroke very carefully.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, he gave me a great tip for palette knives, is that he would sit at night when he's watching a bit of television with a bit of wet and dry sandpaper, just sharpening the edge of his palette knives. So
really?
And he wanted it, when the word knife, he wanted it as sharp as the sharpest knife you could get.
Yeah.
And I tried it. I kind of got bored doing it. I thought, I'll just buy a new one, even though they're hard to get good palette knives. But do want to thank you for allowing us into the studio today.
You're welcome.
It's a wonderful little space, a true inspiration. I've always find that seeing other great painters and paintings just inspires me. So I'm hoping that rubs off on our viewers as well. So
That's great.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, Collie.